Hello YouTube, we are back and we have the Action Comics 63 first wrap between the shelving. Here you go. And last upload, as you saw, I leaf casted it. And you may be saying, what's going on, Jerry? Well, I'll tell you what's going on. I actually, if you recall my plastic sheets, I let the page dry a little bit, and then what I did was I put the front of the first wrap on the plastic sheet and I put it in Big Bertha to give it a nice smooth finish. Now, I think it looks pretty good. I think the color of the pulp matches pretty nicely. Now, it's not perfect. You're never gonna match it perfect. So what I wanna do now is I wanna try to break or release the plastic from the leaf casted sheet. Now, I'll tell you right now, the reason why I wanna release it is because I want to start cleaning it and take off some of the pulp, and I'll show you where. Also, I have to be very careful because this sheet or the first wrap is still wet, I can tell. And once it dries a little bit better, you're gonna have a more uniform leaf casted product. I am working on this page. I was in court all day. I want to enjoy a beer, a Hogan Garden or Hoegaarden, and I don't want to spill it. I'll show you after I drink a little bit, but this is a good beer. It's a Belgium wheat beer, excuse me. There you go. A nice chug to work on the comic. So how are we going to release this? Well, we can slowly try to take my tool and guide it through ever so slightly, rocking back and forth to release it. By doing it this way, you always run risk of ripping the paper. But what I learned doing this over time is that you have to be patient and do not rush it. And as I like to say, I am Italian, I am not Russian. So you just have to take your time, use the tool, and slowly release the paper from the plastic. Now, I have an ongoing joke with Kenny Sanderson where he is the professional comic conservationist that I became friends with, and there is a method that he uses, and I don't want him to tell me what it is, but I'm trying to guess, and it's a cat and mouse game with us going back and forth in relation to his drawing process. But I do like the way I do it, and hopefully it will be released and we will not have any issue. Because once we have an issue, there goes the work that we did, and I really do not feel like leaf casting this wrap again. And I'm leaf casting this wrap, or I did leaf cast it, and I know I've said this in prior uploads, this was Collecting Chaos's idea to do, and I like to do ideas sometimes that my supporters and fellow YouTubers suggest. Why not? So it's slowly coming up. I am getting it. This may be a little tedious to some, and I just came up with an idea doing it, and we're going to see if it works. We all know what this is. It's a backer board. So what I want to do is I just want to slowly put the backer board in, and I want to lift the plastic, and then we're going to put the backer board in. We're going to lift the plastic, and by doing it this way, we're just giving support to the document. I never did this method before, but you know, sometimes when I do things, I alter the way I do it because it's not an exact science. And sometimes you just have to change the way you do things. And this is working pretty good, as you can see. And I just have a little bit more to go. And we just have to take our time releasing it. And the backer board method is working quite well. Let's see if we can get a little bit of this side off so we can slowly remove the plastic, and we will have a free first wrap where we can go and clean it up a little bit. Now right there I put a hole in it. I don't know if the camera took it up or caught it, but that's okay. I'm going to show you how we're going to fix it. And you have to understand, when I'm doing this, I'm doing it for the camera. If I was doing it not for the camera, I would have a better way of doing it, meaning I can get closer. I'm trying to do it where I am not blocking it for the viewers who watch my uploads, and I truly do appreciate everyone. I may have not made a hole. I may be mistaken. I'm gonna have to look at it closer once we free the document from the plastic. It could have just been a piece of paper pulp that was connected to the plastic. So let's see if we can go over here and loosen it. And it is a slow, tedious process, guys, but that's the nature of the game. And I think I may have freed it up. So let's lift it up slowly. And I freed it up. And as you can see, there is some pulp. I don't know if the camera's getting it, that sticks on to the plastic. So I'm gonna have to clean this. Maybe I'll spray some Pam on the plastic, only kidding. But there may be something that I can spray on, hopefully to make it release easier. And right now I do feel the moisture, and there is moisture still in this document, and it is still drying. But I'll tell you right now, I see some pulp here. So there's different ways I can remove the pulp, and one of the ways is by absorbing. So we're gonna try a little bit of the absorbing. I just like to use a little piece, just like this. We'll make a little ball, and then I'm gonna roll it, or I will actually, there's different ways, sometimes rolling, but maybe this way will do it. And as you can see, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but this works very well. And since we're here, let's do things proper, where we can actually see the work being done. And I think that is picking it up. It should be picking it up at least. And right here we have some pulp. So what I'll do is I'll just take the absorbing and I'll rub it on the areas where I want to remove the pulp. And I'm gonna have to clean up a little bit by the Action Comics. So this is what I do. And I'll do this more in detail off camera because it is still wet and it is not completely smooth yet. We're gonna have to press this a little bit more, and it's still wet, as I just said, so I feel the moisture in it, and it's not completely flattened yet, and this will become a lot better looking once it's dried, once it's cleaned up better. We have a little pulp right here I see on between Superman's business, if you know what I'm talking about. We can't have that there. Lois Lane wouldn't like that. So we'll clean up his private parts a little bit, and I'll do this and I'll go over the whole page. There is a lot of work, believe it or not, that goes into the leaf casting of a page aside from the leaf casting itself. So I think I achieved my goal of making a smooth product. I think this will look very nice once fully dried, and then we'll work on it more, cleaning up the edges, cleaning up the interior. That's all easy stuff. So what is it that I want to do now? What I want to do is I want to clean, actually I don't want to clean, I want to press the page more in Big Bertha. And I do want to blot it more. So what I'll do is we'll cover the top with a piece of Ramee. I'll take one paper towel. That will be enough to absorb the moisture that's in there. We'll put the paper towel down. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna sandwich the first wrap between two paper towels and two pieces of Ramee, and then I will go and I will put this in Big Bertha one more time. We'll crank down on it, we'll put it in overnight, and then the next step that we'll do, once it dries fully, clean it, and then we're gonna cut it. And I'll show you how we're gonna cut it to match up the actual cover, which I have sitting here on the side as well. Let's take a look and see how that's doing. I know I showed it off, but I still have to trim it because the leaf casting is in the center. There is still Tengojo paper that needs to be trimmed. And I also want to dry clean the cover as well, but I may do that after we put it back together. I'm not certain yet, but it actually came out, I think, dynamite, because I really didn't manipulate the colors that much of the front cover and the back cover. And I'm gonna use the cover as a template to actually cut out the first wrap. So what I'll do after we cut the Tengojo and the leaf casting off, I am going to place the cover directly on the first wrap, and I'm going to trace the actual dimensions of the cover onto the first wrap, and that's how we're gonna cut it to make it match the actual book. I'll give maybe 1/8 of an inch in total on both, not on both sides, 1/8 of an inch added on each side. Does that make sense? I'll make it a little bit bigger, okay? And then what we'll do is we will have an exact size of the actual book the way it was cut at the factory. So there you go, guys, a short upload. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you haven't made a comment, make a comment. I'll take another sip of the beer, and I appreciate everyone's support. If you haven't, why not throw a nomination my way for the Comic Book Community Awards 2023. I really like it, and it's fun to be nominated, and it's fun to go through the process. So thank you, and stay tuned.